Some people say that rappers don't have feelings. We have feelings.
We have feelings.
Some people say that we are not rappers.
We're rappers.
That hurts our feelings.
Hurts our feelings when you say we're not rappers.
Some people say that rappers are invincible.
We're invincible.
Invincible. What you are about to hear are true stories.
Real experiences.
Autobiographical raps.
Things that happened to us.
All true. Bring the rhyme.
I make a meal for my friends, try to make it delicious, try to keep it nutritious, create wonderful dishes. Not one of them thinks about the way I feel. Nobody compliments the meal. I got good feelings. I got good feelings. I feel like a prize asshole. No one even mentions my casserole. I got good feelings. I got good feelings. You could have said something nice about my professor role.
Here's a little story to bring a tear to your eye. I was shopping for a wetsuit to scuba dive, but every suit I tried was too big around the thighs, and the assistant suggested I try a lady size.
I got good feelings. I got good feelings.
I'm not gonna wear a lady's wetsuit. I'm a man.
I got good feelings. I got good feelings.
Give me a small man's wetsuit, please.
It's my birthday, 2003. Waiting for a call from my family. They forgot about me.
I got hurt feelings. I got hurt feelings.
The day after my birthday is not my birthday, Mom.
I call my friends, say let's go into town, but they're all too busy to go into town. So I go by myself, I go into town. Then I see all my friends, they're all in town.
I got hurt feelings. I got hurt feelings.
They're all lined up to watch that movie, Made in Manhattan. Have you ever been told your ass is too big?
Have you ever been asked if your hair is a wig?
Have you ever been told you're mediocre in bed?
Have you ever been told you got a weird shaped head?
Has your family ever forgotten you and driven away?
Once again, they forgot about you.
Were you ever called homo cause at school you took drama?
Have you ever been told that you look like a llama?
Tears of a rapper.
Don't wanna make a rapper cry, then watch what
I'm
you say.
crying tears of a rapper.
Pouring like the bullets of my eye
Gold-plated tears of a rapper.
These are the tears of a rapper now.
These are diamond tears of a rapper.
These are the bulletproof 24-karat gold tears of a rapper.
All right, hope y'all are doing well. We're going to be doing another class projects day here in UX. Again, we got today, and then we got Wednesday, and that's it for the semester. You've almost made it through. Hold on for one more day, and then all we got left is the final. All right. Few announcements. So the commits were due last. I forgot to update that. Class project days are today and on Wednesday within class activities to get your feedback on those. Commits are were due last week by Friday night, and then the exam is going to be on the 12th. So that's kind of where we're at with class. Not too much left in terms of due dates. One thing I did want to mention is that for the final exam, you may want to be practicing for that or studying for that or whatever. And the main thing that I would recommend doing is studying those 10 heuristics. Study those 10 heuristics. You may even want to memorize those 10 heuristics. The exam will be on the 12th. It will probably be a two-hour exam. I forget how long the time period we get is, but I think it's about a 2-hour. And it would definitely help you if you memorize those 10 heuristics. So I would recommend memorizing those 10 heuristics, knowing how to apply each heuristic for sure, but memorizing those 10 heuristics will be a big help to you during that exam. All right. So today we're going to be watching in class. We're going to be watching these class project videos. We're going to watch them, discuss them, and then there will be peer evaluation and grade scope. Those will be more to see if you understand kind of how good these user interfaces are relative to each other. I won't be using those to actually give grades because I give grades myself, But those will be for me to understand, are you able to look at a UX and say, hey, yeah, that one's an A, or that one's a B, or that one's a C, just given what you're looking at. So this is a way for me to see if y'all get what's going on. All right. So now we are going to go ahead. Oh, never mind. We're going to go ahead and open it up in case y'all have any questions today. Any questions today? Does anybody have any questions before we get started today? Let me know in the chat or right here on Minty. I'll give y'all a minute. Somebody's asking, have you thought if we had any C's yet? I'm trying to think, because I've looked at a lot of videos from last week. Yeah, I think we did have at least one C. But I'm talking about grades of the actual deliverable. Now remember, your deliverable was the demo video and then good and bad things. You could get a C on the demo video, meaning that your app wasn't that good. But if you do a good job on the good and bad things, then you could end up getting a B or an A for the overall. So don't despair. There was probably one that was a C level final demo video. However, because of the good and bad things, you could do much better. Somebody's saying, any chance we can still turn in the commits? I've gotten a couple comments about that. So let me do something real quick. We're going to look at those commits. And the late deadline for commits has now been updated. If you turn them in today, you can still turn them in. So there you go. Present from me to you. You can now turn in commits late. Get those in. Turn in those commits. What time will the exam be at? You can look this up in the standard VCU thing. In fact, that's what I'll do right now. So let's do that right now together. If you've never done this VCU exam schedule, check it out. Spring 2021. What we want to do is look for the Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 11 to 11:50 a.m. That is us. Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 11 to 11:50. Our exam time will be 12:30 to 3:20, and that will be on May the 12th. May the 12th at 12:30. So there you go. That's how you do it. I'll put that in the chat in case y'all ever want to check that out for your other, see when your other exams are. There you go. So there's that one. Any other questions before we move on? Okay, I'm not seeing any other questions. I'll give you another second, but looks like we're good. All right, cool. So we're going to get back to doing demos. We have already done 5 last time. We're going to do 5 today, and then I think it's only 4 left for the final day. So all right, let me make sure that I haven't seen this. We haven't. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Here's our first new one for today. Mini golf. Check it out.
Hello, and welcome to Team Golf's mini golf score tracking app. To start the game, first you click on this lovely blue button and enter the game. Type in the number of players you have and the number of holes you are playing. For the purpose of this demo, we'll go ahead and say 2 players with 3 holes. Hit continue to enter in the names for these players. We'll go with David and Kelly. Continue on to see your scorecard. Here, the user can enter in the scores for each player as they play their game of mini golf. Once the game is complete, they may hit the finish button and see the results. They then have the option to play again or quit the app.
All right, cool. Anybody want to make some comments? I'm going to be clicking through so you can see what's going down here. So give me some comments, good and bad. Be kind, of course, but good and bad. There's one thing that really sticks out to me about this app that bugs me. There's lots of good things here, but there's one thing that sticks out about this app that bugs me. Yep, and Zwida Gozimus has come up with the thing that is really bugging me. Having this default like title at the top at this point in the semester. Not a fan of that. However, everything else is looking pretty cool, or a lot of other things are looking cool. You know, fun little start menu, pretty simple, reasonable colors. Let's see what else y'all are saying. Clean, very simple setup. You're right about that. Yeah, the font is fun. It's a little close to Comic Sans for my taste, but and there's a lack of default. So one thing I want to mention is there's like a lack of default things here. You have to type in the number of holes. Like we all know that Putt-Putt has 18 holes by now, I think. So like having to type that in is kind of lame. Having to type in a number instead of just hitting 1, 2, 3, or 4 or 5 or 6. It's kind of, you know, I would change that too. Having to put in names instead of just using default names and allowing me to change them. But again, nice colors and simple. And again, simple. This looks like it more or less works. Because there's not buttons to put in the score, they have done a good job of making sure that you can see the scorecard and the type in here. However, that means they can only use like kind of half of the page. So would have been maybe better to not use the input mechanism that they did. I'm seeing what y'all are saying. And it doesn't show off the scrolling. Yeah, that's a little suspicious, right? Because the scrolling is, well, actually it does. That's how the scrolling works. And this is fun and simple, and I just like the simplicity. I think the minimalism and simplicity of this app is good. So that part is good for sure. Okay, let's see what they thought of their own app. Going back to, I think I got to go back to here. Yeah, hold on a second. All right. 2, 3, 4. All right, here we go with their good thing. Let's see if we agree with their good thing.
Communication is key when it comes to app design. The app must be able to communicate with the users when they have done something wrong. For example, when I put in the number of players over 4 here and try to hit continue, it gives me this red air logo and tells me I can only have up to 4 players. This effectively communicates with the user what they can and cannot do. We even suggest a solution. Enter in a number between 1 and 4. The little red icon is a great example of keeping consistency and standards. Users know that red pop-ups usually mean that they've done something wrong. Using a new symbol here would be confusing. We also kept our design very minimal and clean looking. We used bright fun colors but kept them limited, leaving the user feeling refreshed. We chose a calming green, pleasant to the eye to look at. and it resembles mini golf grass.
All right, cool. And I think we agreed that the minimalism simplicity is really good with this one. I didn't have any major comments. I basically agreed with that one. Let me know if you have any comments on that particular one, like on the positives. Yeah. So the narration on that was excellent. That's what I want out of demos. All right, here we go. This is things that are bad or that they would improve.
Unfortunately, we were unable to get everything done within our app that we wanted to, as there was only so much time in this semester. One of the biggest things was the score sheet. Ideally, this chart would have been able to have been enlarged in some way, and each square could have been seen individually. Or it would have been implemented a little bit differently, allowing for the space to be used ideally. Right now, it functions very well, but when using it on a small phone app, it might just be a bit too small for larger hands. We also would have loved to have implemented some features for disabled people, like a colorblind option or a way to speak to the app or have the app be read aloud to the user. Overall, though, it's a fairly well-functioning app that does what it needs to do.
All right. Any comments on that from the Peanut Gallery? I love to read y'all's comments after you see these to see if you're learning what you need to. So any comments on this particular one? Perhaps not too much to say about this one, which is fine. Apparently that's Claire's voice. Very nice narration. What I think is cool about their realization here is that this group went with a grid, and I don't know if y'all can pick up on my personal preferences, but I personally would, I'm not a big fan of the grid for this particular problem. And it's because a lot of these issues, like the space issues and things like that, I think what I like about this group's bad thing is they've learned, they did a grid this time and they realized, like, yeah, maybe the grid wasn't great for this. Like, grids are rough to implement and use on a phone because of the scrolling issues. And so if we had to do this again, we would do something that better utilized the screen space and whatnot. So I think they learned from their experience, and I think that's great. They articulated that well. All right, cool. I want y'all to go ahead and take a minute to fill out the grade scope related to this. Go.
Some people say that rappers don't have feelings. We have feelings.
We have feelings.
Some people say that we are not rappers.
We're rappers.
That hurts our feelings.
Hurts our feelings when you say we're not rappers.
Some people say that rappers are invincible.
We're invincible.
We're invincible. But you are about to hear true stories.
Real experiences.
Autobiographical raps.
Things that happen to us.
All true. Bring the rhyme.
I make a meal for my friends, try to make it delicious, try to keep it nutritious, create wonderful dishes. Not one of them thinks about the way
Let me know when you're ready.
Nobody
in the chat.
The meal. I got good feelings. I got good feelings. I feel like a prize asshole. No one even mentions my casserole. I got good feelings. I got good feelings. You could have said something nice about my professor role.
Here's a little story to bring a tear to your eye. I was shopping for a wetsuit to scuba dive, but every suit I tried was too big around the thighs, and the assistant suggested I try a lady size.
I got good feelings. I got good feelings.
I'm not gonna wear a lady's wetsuit. I'm a man.
I got good feelings. I got good feelings.
Give me a small man's wetsuit, please.
All right. Seems like most of y'all are ready, so let's head on. Here we go. 60-second demo.
Our app. It's called Holes, and when you first open the application. This is the home screen that you see. And here on the home screen, you can select the number of players and the number of holes. So let's select 3 players. Let's do 3 holes. And then once you hit that, you hit the Go to Scorecard. This button will take you to the scorecard page. And here on the scorecard page, you can customize each player. So let's say this is, and move this in. And after that, you put in the score for each person. And do that. And as you can see, there's a settings button here. Here it'll take you to the settings page where you can change the number of holes and players, or you can just hit end game after your game's done, and it'll take you to the final scores page. And here I'll show you who won and who.
All right. Any comments on this one? I'm going to be clicking through. I'm going to be clicking through. Let me know your comments as you think of them. Yeah, I agree with this like fat finger issue. I can't imagine myself hitting the up versus the down. I feel like I would just smash both of them. On the scorecard page, there it's kind of like not minimalist, right? Like there's a lot happening here. I definitely agree with that. The aesthetics of the grass may be a little old school app kind of early web times kind of aesthetic. Back to when you're choosing the number of holes, having to hit this 18 times, yeah, that could be kind of annoying. It's hard to read scorecard because of the contrast between the two. So the reason I didn't say whether the background is good or bad is because that could be the aesthetic they're going for, is like early web design. I don't know what they're going for here, but can be okay, right? All right, let's go for the concrete things. I think I am not. All right. Yeah, how would it look if they selected 18 holes? That's a great question, Paul. I am curious about that myself. Who sees a problem on this page? Like, not with these two selectors. Not with the selectors. Who sees a problem with this page? Not with the selectors. There is a definite problem on this page, but it is not with the selectors. Yep. So whenever you use an image, if you like resize it or something, it's going to look blurry. This looks blurry. I guess you stretched it maybe accidentally. You got to be careful. You want to keep your images true size or downscaled at the worst, but you usually want to keep them true sized, meaning like they are showing at the same resolution that they were taken. So having a fuzzy intro image is not a good first impression. Going up to 18 holes, that would be kind of annoying. I guess you could probably type in there. I'm not sure yet. But the interesting thing is, though, if you did go to 18 holes, I can't imagine this might look a little intense. Good things, though, you have, you can just leave these as default player, although it should be player 1, 2, and 3 probably. And then you can change them if you want to. So there's a few things going on here that I would change. And the fat finger issue, let's see, let's go to the end. I think it shows the winner. Yep, final scores. I don't even think it totals them, so that's a problem. And yep, okay. So there's that. Let's see what they think of in terms of positives and negatives. Here we go.
A couple of good things about our app is kind of the minimalistic design. As you can see on our homepage, we only have players and holes for the user to focus on. And here we have the up and down arrow buttons for them to use rather than just typing in how many players and how many holes. And then after this, they click on to go to scorecard. And another unique thing we like about our app is how you can how the user can customize the player's name and such, just to kind of like give them more of a personalized experience. And we also use the same format as our homepage, where we use up and down arrows to kind of put in your score rather than typing it in, because we kind of saw that this as being more simpler and we wanted to go for a more simplistic design. And another thing we have is our settings page. And our settings page follows the same kind of design as our home page because we don't want to confuse the user too much. And we use the same up and down arrows, and we try to follow the same minimalistic design.
All right, any comments from y'all on this, on what they showed? Now, hearing from the authors in terms of good things, any further updates from y'all, feel free to put it in the chat while you're waiting. I want to just make you look at this page. I would say that this page looks a lot cooler than, let me go back, this page, although it is very similar. So if they'd have maybe not had the background image and just had this plain color, could have gotten across that minimalistic vibe a lot better. So hold on a sec. Yeah, and an issue, having these buttons actually be part of the scroll so that they can go away, that does bother me too. You would rather want to have those fixed so that they don't scroll. Oops. Anyway, the thing I want to bring up though is like, this is probably what I would have had the app look like, just no background image in this gray color. I appreciate the consistency across pages. Everything is basically up and down buttons, but this, if you were going to go for that, I would have put like maybe more, more thought into making this control better, because the small arrows are problematic. All right, cool. Let's go then to what they didn't end up liking. Let's see if they came to any of the same conclusions as us. I think this is theirs. Is this theirs? Nope, next one. Here we go.
Hi, so a couple of bad things we wanted to talk about on our app is kind of the first thing we see on our scorecard is we have horizontal scrolling for each player box. And we kind of thought this would be unique for each player, but then we also kind of realized that it would also be kind of confusing. As you see, you have to scroll sideways for each player to see the number of holes or which hole they have to go to enter in your score. And if in our next implementation or next update, we'd probably just keep this as one box and like scroll it once for all players so you can kind of align it out better. And another thing we kind of we got mixed reviews during our user studies was that we noticed that some people thought the color scheme was kind of confusing because we wanted to go with the grass in the background to kind of emulate a real golf course, but seeing the colors together, it kind of was too much, it was too vibrant. So we'd probably change it up and go for a little more, I guess, dull colors so it'd be easier on the eyes. Yeah.
All right, good. So they learned some of the things that we were thinking. It's interesting that this scrolls across. I didn't even realize that until now. And so that was something that you would have to do for every player, that they would synchronize. So in general, I would say they probably learned some good stuff here. And yeah. All right. So I'm going to give you all just another minute to go ahead and fill out the grade scope for these guys. Go.
It's my birthday, 2003, waiting for a call from my family. They forgot about me.
I got hurt feelings. I got hurt feelings.
The day after my birthday is not my birthday, Mom.
I call my friends, say let's go into town, but they're all too busy to go into town. So I go by myself, I go into town. Then I see all my friends, they're all in town. I got good feelings, I got good feelings. They're all lined up to watch that movie.
Tell me when you're ready.
Have you ever been told your ass is too big?
Have you ever been asked if your hair is a wig?
Have you ever been told you're mediocre in bed?
Have you ever been told you got a weird shaped head?
Has your family ever forgotten you and driven away?
Once again, they forgot about you.
Were you ever called homo cause at school you took drama?
Have you ever been told that you look like a llama?
Tears of a rapper.
Don't wanna make a rapper cry, then watch what you say.
Tears of a rapper.
All right, here we go. My mini swing.
Hello, this is our app called My Mini Swing, where we are able to keep track of the scores when playing a mini golf game. This is the landing page of our app here, and then we'll click Create Game. The user also is able to configure the game settings such as the number of holes and the number of players that are active within the game. So for this example, I'll choose 9, 2 players, and we can name them A and B for now. And then we'll create our game as of now, and as you can see, there is the number of holes, how many points we can enter in. So we can just add in these sample scores for now and click End Game, and after the users are finished playing the game, they will be sent to the results page, in which that they will be able to see who scores the highest and what places that the users have placed depending on their score points. And then by clicking Return to Home page, the user gets sent back to the main screen.
All right, cool. Let me know your thoughts on this one. Some people like the aesthetic. Yeah, the first page especially, aesthetic here is real nice. Absolutely. Love it. Let's go to
The game settings such as the number of holes.
Still good, simple aesthetic. The yeah, the aesthetic's pretty consistent and good throughout.
There's the number of,
and this is simple. Maybe a little small on those fonts, but probably if that was a full name, you know, that would be appropriate. Like the whole defaults, absolutely. I like the whole defaults. Would be cool to list the losers here too, but very clear and good aesthetic. So one thing I want to point out. All right, this page is great. The defaults are great. Number player is great. Can anybody see one problem with this page? Let's look at this page in use. You will see one big problem with this page. Let me know if you see it.
And the number of players that are active within the game. So for this example, I'll choose 9, 2 players.
Did anybody see the problem? You should have definitely seen the problem there. You could not tell what you selected. Excellent, Pedram. So, number of holes, it should be very clear what you selected. He hit 9, and then nothing happened. And so I had no idea what was selected. And I guess you could put a number in here. How would you know that that's selected versus any of these others? So this should maybe be some kind of a radio button thing where like whichever one you selected is highlighted. So it wasn't selected, and that is a no-no because the user doesn't know what's going on. But otherwise, again, the aesthetic on this one is really nice. Not a lot of complaints on this one. You know, I prefer to have an easier way to input scores other than the number thing, but if you're going to do the number thing, this is a nice and easy and clear, pleasing to look at way to do it. And so, yeah, not a lot of complaints here. Nice aesthetic, clean app. Let's see what they thought they would do different. Oh, no, what they liked out of their app. All right, here we go.
Right, so this is the page that where we felt as this is kind of a good design decision when developing our application, My Minute Swing, particularly because we kind of follow Nielsen's number 2 heuristic, in which
Oh, I just realized this page. I misinterpreted this page before. They do show everybody. They just only had 2 players, right? Here is the winner, and then here is the other player, which was number 2, right? So they do show everybody. If they had 3, 4, and 5 players, I bet they'd be listed here too. Makes more sense now.
we match between the system and the real world, and we kind of follow this logical order, and using words and phrases that users would be able to understand, and is very transparent and clear to when looking at the results. For example, using an icon to making sure like who's the winner and how many scores, or what's the score points that the user that has won, or the player that has won by. And we also have like a ranking system showing like which places where the rest of the players lie at, like second and third place, and it will be listed within that order, as well as having a nice table to show them where all the information lies at.
Okay, and I think they just liked this page because it was simple and whatnot. But I think what we all liked about this app was the aesthetics. I think the aesthetics of this app was pretty cool. So they liked something slightly different than what we did, but that's okay. All right, here we go. Something they did not like.
So one of the bad design decisions that we have made within our mini Swing app is that the number of holes when the user is trying to configure their game and they're looking at how many holes that they want to play by for their game, when clicking on them, it's not very easy to tell which holes it is actually configured for, because it's not like highlighted or it's not toggled on.
Okay, awesome answer. They understood by using their app and getting user studies like, hey, when you click on it, you can't see what was selected. Great finding.
Or any of the sort. So we are kind of violating Nielsen's number 1 heuristic, where we need to have a visibility of the system status, and the user should always be informed of how many holes like are in my game. So I think one quick way to amend this is maybe when the user clicks on one of these buttons, one of the holes should be like highlighted, or the number of holes should be highlighted based on what they want.
Excellent. So this is an example of where there was one bad thing about their app. But the fact that they identified it and talked about a way to fix it, and they understood even which of the Nielsen's heuristics it corresponded to, that means the bad thing about their app will actually lead to an increase in their grade because they understood and learned from the issue. Everybody's going to have bad things in their apps. If we learn from them, that's a good thing. Okay. Great work. Love. Go ahead and do that one in Gradescope. Check it out. Go. I'll be getting up the next one.
The distant future, the year 2000. The distant future, the year 2000. The distant future, the distant future.
It is the distant future, the year 2000.
We are robots.
The world is quite different ever since the robotic uprising of the late 90s. There is no more unhappiness.
Affirmative.
We no longer say yes, instead we say affirmative.
Yes, affirmative.
Unless we know the other robot really well.
There is no more unethical treatment of the elephants.
Well, there's no more elephants, so... but still it's good. There's only one...
All right, here we go. Here is the next one. Putt points. Check it out.
The Putt Points demo video. Just gonna open it up. See, I've got stats. No stats yet. Basic profile page. I can turn pars on and off. Go back here, start a new game, include myself. Let's add some new players. Steve. And if I go home, you'll see that Steve's still there. Can go through a couple holes, add some points, view the card. You can see my score so far, view the totals. Click done. If I want to go back, I can edit as well. See, we're on hole 1 for Steve is now 4. Click done. And go back to my current hole. Pause the game if I want. See, we're on hole 5. And resume it. Getting kind of bored, so I'm going to end it. View the card. Done. See the stats here. I won the game. 8 points per game. Go back. History. And you can see the totals and the scores.
All right. Give me your comments on this one. Check it out. I'm clicking through. Let me know your comments. Clicking through so you can see. Yep, cool characters. Yep, very good looking app. Can anybody find an obvious problem with this app? So, an obvious and like agreed upon problem for this app. Can anybody come up with one? So I agree, Rosalind. The demo felt a little rushed. On the other hand, like it is a 60-second demo, and you know, so I understand that. I think it was rushed because there was a lot of functionality. I think so. That's a good point, though. If they were going to do this in a professional setting, you would want to go slower and explain it slower. However, because there's a 60-second limit to this, you know, it was fine. Absolutely. So somebody's bringing up the dark colors, you know, if you're wearing sunglasses. But on the other hand, I don't agree. I don't agree that that's an obvious bad point, because check it out. Every button that you're supposed to smash, like you can see, is white, right? So like, yeah, you're not going to see that little shading, but you are going to see everything you need to do, right? I'm not a big fan of having different light and dark modes for phone apps. I mean, it's just like overkill to me. Yeah, I think the bright text counters that. You would have a hard time maybe seeing some of the shading in, you know, in bright light, maybe. So that is a potential issue, but I wouldn't say it's an obvious issue. Does anybody see an obvious issue here? Perhaps you'd want, I guess the only one that I could think of is maybe you'd want to see Sage 1 and you'd want to see what everybody else got, like, you know, I mean, just like the second place, third place, but of course they do have the view card for that.
Go back, history, and you can see the totals and the scores.
And the only other one that is possible, maybe, like when you go here, I think automatically going to like the last hole, you know, if you've gone to all holes, the last one, or if you're, you know, perhaps having this go automatically go to the last hole. This is a little hard to use, maybe because it's like little small. Maybe that's a problem. But I guess the point I'm trying to say is like, this is a pretty good app. I personally don't have a lot of things that I can say are obvious problems. They have followed all the UI designs. You can see there's no grid, you know, like you can choose the person and put their score in real easy. So whoever did this, great job. All right, We're going to skip your good and bad things because I want to get through 5 of them today. So everybody put in the score for this one. Go.
Kind of dance, the robot.
Oh, and the robo.
Oh, and the rope. 2 kinds of dances.
But there are no more humans.
Finally, robotic beings rule the world. The humans are dead. The humans are dead. We use poisonous gases, and we poison their asses. The humans are dead.
The humans are dead.
Tell me when you're ready.
Humans are dead.
They look like they're dead.
It had to be
I'll
done
just confirm that they're dead.
so that we could have fun.
Affirmative. I poked one. It was dead.
Their system of oppression.
What did it lead to?
Global robo depression.
Robots, robot people.
They had so much aggression that we just had to kill them and to shut their systems down.
All right, cool. Here we go. Next one. Looks like y'all are ready. Putt Putt Bud. Check it out.
This is our mini golf scorecard app, Putt Putt Bud. We're about to start a new game with 3 players and 6 holes. Now we're going to edit our players, Tanya, Vic, and Taylor, and then start the game. We're going to fill in the scores for Tanya and Vic first. Then using the right scroll button, we can edit Taylor's score. By using the left scroll button, you can see that Taylor has 31 points, Vic has 26, and Tanya has 13, so Tanya's our winner. Now we can play again with 3 players and 5 holes instead. And we're having a rematch. Now we can view the menu screen where we see the rules. We can also return to the game as needed.
Cool. All right, give me your comments. I see some things I have some comments on, but overall, nice app for sure. I'm clicking through. Let me know your comments in the chat. It's more fun if y'all comment, as you know. Do you have any comments, people? Hello? Yeah, I think the app's aesthetic's very nice. I like that. I like it. Very nice aesthetics. Oops. The rules. Where are the rules? They are right here. Yeah, that's a little hard to read. I agree. That's a little hard to read. Everything else looks good, though. Return to game. Let's see where that is. Return to game is slightly off center. I'll give you that. It does look slightly off center. It looks friendly and pretty. I agree. This looks friendly and pretty. Rules is a nice touche. Yeah. So here, let me give a few comments. I agree with y'all's comments overall. I think the nicest thing about this is the aesthetic. Aesthetic is cool, right? So nice aesthetic. Putting in players and holes. Of course, it'd be nice if these were had some defaults, but this is a perfectly reasonable way to do it. One thing I noticed, does anybody notice something here in the edit players field? Anybody notice something here in the edit players field? Yeah, you can't add or remove players. I don't know if that's a big deal. But you're right. It's interesting. So all of the names are in lowercase here. Tanya, Vic, and Taylor. I'm not sure, like I could be wrong about this, but usually when you would input a name, it would like auto capitalize the first thing here. So I'm not sure if there's something different about these input spaces. Shouldn't it automatically capitalize? I thought that was odd. That would be just something that I would test. I'm not sure if that's a real issue or whether that was just because you were doing it on the keyboard instead of the regular, input here. Just a little detail. Now check it out. Here's something that's really interesting to me. I remember talking to this group. They had a kind of a scrolling grid, like we've seen other groups have scrolling grids. And an issue, let me go back a little bit. All right. So an issue that they had early on is this was a kind of a completely scrolling grid. So like fluidly scrolling. And they found that that was not super easy for users to use. And then they didn't have time though to like completely scrap the idea of a grid and go back and do something like the last group did. However, they still came to a pretty good solution. It's a grid, but if you want to go to the right to go to other people's names, you just hit this. All right, so this is an example of, hey, we made a choice that maybe we wouldn't make again early on, but we're kind of stuck with it now. How could we make it better? Well, this is certainly better than it was before with the fluid scrolling. You know, you can just tap left and right to scroll left and right. I think that works pretty well. And so they really did a good job on solving that problem. So I like that a lot. And again, I would maybe put the other people here, but it's nice aesthetics. The aesthetics of this app are nice. Overall, very nice. All right. I believe that's team number 5 for today, if I have counted correctly. And we're out of time, so I'm going to ask you to go ahead and update Gradescope. Verify that that's team number 5 through today. Has everybody got 5 today? Let me know in the chat. Hello, hello. Is that team number 5 for today? Yes, okay, I thought so. So please update that in Gradescope. That is it for today, and we will be back on what do you call it? On Wednesday, and we will be doing this one more time, and that will be the last, the last one for last lecture for this class, and then we will have the exam on the 12th. So I will see y'all on Wednesday. Have a good one, and I'll see you then.
So, you're leaving. I can tell. Because I can see you leaving. But if you're trying to break my heart, your plan is flawed from the start. You can't break this heart, it's liquid. It melted when I met you. And as you leave, don't turn back to me. Don't turn around to see if I'm crying. I'm not crying, not crying, not crying. I'm not crying. It's just been raining on my face. And if you think you see some tear tracks down my cheeks, please, please don't tell my mates I'm not crying. No, I'm not crying. And if I am crying, it's not because of you. It's because I'm thinking about a friend of mine you don't know who is dying. That's right, dying. These aren't tears of sadness because you're leaving me. I've just been cutting onions. I'm making a lasagna for one. Oh, I'm not crying. No, there's just a little bit of
dust in my eyes from the path that you made when you said your goodbye. I'm not weeping cause you won't be here to hold my hand. For your information, there's an inflammation in my tear gland. I'm not upset because you left me this way. My eyes are just a little sweaty today. They've been looking around a lot, searching for you. They've been looking for you, even though I told them not to. These aren't tears of sadness, but tears of joy. I'm just laughing. I'm sitting at this table called love, staring down at the irony of life. How come we've reached this fork in the road, and yet it cuts like a knife? I'm not crying.